right, what is going on? I think I've got this figured out now. I'm hoping that I'm coming through all right. I don't know how the audio is going to really sound on this because I normally, the software that I normally record this podcast on isn't opening right now on the on my computer here. So I just downloaded a little free software here, Audacity. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. I honestly shows what kind of a rock I live under because I literally haven't heard of this, but I've got it now and we're rocking with it. So I guess, I don't know, this is either going to be a good review for them if it's if this episode turns out all right, and if it sucks, then it sucks. It is what it is. We are going to adapt and overcome because that is what we do. We try and to rise above the situations that we're in rather than just wallow in them or call it quits. Be like, oh, fuck it, I'll just figure it out tomorrow. I'll just get to it later. No, that's right. I buckled down in this extreme, test of will that I've just had to overcome. And we're here. We're sticking it through. And so if I can overcome this, imagine what you could overcome. It's Monday morning. It's not right now. I'm pre-recording this, obviously, but it's Monday morning as you listen to this. Hope that you are starting your day off well. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Henriksen. If you didn't already know that, now you know. What you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like self-help, mental health, self-development, self-improvement, anything in regards to that. We also obviously have podcast interviews. I kind of more do like the conversational, like open, just a free-flowing conversation. I'm not really great at planning things, which I'm sure you can tell when you listen to this podcast. But yeah, I just wanted to chill out with you guys and have a little chat. And so what's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. I made a post this week on Instagram, on my Henriksen Contracting Instagram page. Feel free to go and check that out if you guys are interested in home renovations or carpentry or anything like that. That is what I do for a living, and I'm trying to get the social media going for it. And lo and behold, within the, it's been running for a couple years, but I've really been, not that interested in posting anything on there just because I always forget, I'm at work and I'm just kind of, not thinking about recording anything or taking pictures or anything like that. And so recently I decided I'm going to start doing that. And I went, I posted probably, this has got to be, my most viral clip or, social media post that I think I've ever posted ever it was this week. And you guys, like I said, can go check that out if you feel so inclined. But, it's also, it made me kind of laugh, just kind of looking at the different interactions that I had on that post. And, the reason being is because there was one of the first things that caught my attention was, it was a funny post. So some people were trying to make jokes and make laughs, whatever. And, there's other people that were like legitimately like, dude, if you're going to work this way, don't do this. Like, I think that was one of the comments. Like, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all kind of thing. And it just made me laugh. And I kind of, when it comes to my podcast, a lot of the time I think, I kind of basically just post and ghost. I just kind of dump a bunch of content out there, especially in regards to social media. And, I just post it and that's that. When people interact with me and they message me and like, whatever, I'll interact back. But for the most part, I don't really check much insights or anything like that. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not interested in doing that. And maybe I should get better at it. But, when something kind of like hits more views than you normally get or more interactions than you normally get, then obviously that catches your attention. So I started looking at this post and I'm looking through the comments and blah, 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 blah. And, I kind of go back and forth a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll entertain it, especially if it's like kind of like tradey stuff, like anything that goes on in the trades. I want to interact. Just kind of obviously, this is my work, so it's kind of funny it's funny to think maybe this could potentially drum up some business one day. But also, it's just like the things that I deal with on a very like regular basis, and so like it just kind of makes me laugh to interact and comment and blah 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 blah, go back and forth with people, because it's the stuff that I do on a daily basis. So I talk shit. I like to. I'm a little bit lippy, and like especially if someone hits me with a snide ass remark, I'm gonna hit them back. A lot of the times, there's people on there that comment positive things, but I was not interacting with them as much, and like normally I'll just be like, all right, thanks, whatever. But if you comment some lippy shit or negative things or something like that, like you trying to talk shit, especially because every fucking carpenter, every single plumber, every single electrician, and I'm sure it's true in every trade, and I'm sure it's true even outside the trades. Every guy thinks he's the hardest worker ever, which is kind of an unrelated side note, and it's kind of funny. But the other thing is they all think that they do the way that they do it is the right way to do it. You know what I mean? And there's always guys like, I don't know, maybe if you're a doctor, you're like, oh, the way that he gripped the scalpel with this fucking finger and that's and the angle of the incision and blah blah. I'm sure there's a lot of things you could like nitpick if you were to watch somebody do it on social media. And the same thing goes in like the trades. Like anytime, if you look at any construction content or anything like that, like every single comment is like, that wouldn't hit code. Oh, that would never pass. Oh, I would never, my guys would never do that. I would never build that. I couldn't have that. I couldn't do that and have a clean conscience. All these different things. And anyways, I get in the back and forth of all this kind of stuff, and I literally had to remind myself this like idea, for an idea, the hate is gonna hate. A hate is gonna hate, and there's a lot of haters out there, so you kind of got to protect yourself. You got to learn to bob and weave with the hate when they throw it at you. You got to, whoa, miss me, whoa, almost just I hit my desk there, but you got to learn to bob and weave with it. You got to learn to kind of develop a little bit of a hater blocker, because haters gonna hate, and that's what I wanted to chat about today. And so, the one thing, especially with social media, which is funny, is like you always hear about how the brain picks up on or holds on to, I guess, negative things more than it holds on to positive things. I'm sure you guys have kind of heard about that. And that's the same reason why, you could be having a great day. You get up, you have a little workout, you have a little, a good breakfast, you have a little fucking meditation time. Maybe you do your little, your affirmations, and you tell yourself things in the mirror about how great you are and how good you are and blah, blah, blah. You do your yoga poses and whatever, and so you're having a good morning, you're ready to rock and roll, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, you spill your coffee, or you read a negative comment on social media. You something negative happens to you for like a 5-second interval, and because of that, you're like, oh wow, oh my goodness, I can't believe this would happen to me. Like, you have like one of those mental breakdowns where you're like, I'm having the worst morning ever, man. And it's like, dude, you had like 5 seconds of annoyance, and you just had like an hour maybe of good and whatever. You catch my drift. And so this, in the same way, like when it comes to social media, and there's insights you can look at, but just like if you were to just use your imagination, if you think about your post, and if it gets like a negative comment or whatever, that one negative comment, we think, oh, this is the only feedback I get. But it's like, you don't even know how many people saw it. You don't know how many people viewed. And sometimes you can see that. And so maybe, I don't know, that could be something to look into. It's like you look at how many people have seen it, how many people like it, how many people comment, and then how many people comment negatively. And the ratio of that, and that's a term I just learned about recently, is ratioed in regards to, I'm sure you guys know what it is, but for those of you that don't, for those of you that are like me, where it's like you're ignorant to these types of things, that's like in reference to how many like likes or retweets like a certain fucking, and so like if somebody posts something and then somebody comments something and then the comment gets more likes than the original post, that's like ratio, like you got killed in the ratio kind of thing. So I just learned about that, and so I think the same kind of thing is true, a lot of the time, and that kind of actually even relates to, why people even comment negatively in the first place. Like I think a lot of the time when we see somebody, sitting on the other end of their phone, we imagine them being like, I'm gonna fucking ruin this guy's day. Like you maybe think like this, a lot of the time you take it so personally. You're like, man, why would that person say that? Why would that person think that? How could they say, and a lot of the time it's like, man, they don't even, it's just everyone's trying to get clout. Like we've built this whole like got you kind of culture on social media where it's like best fucking one-liner wins, basically. Like that's how short, Vine came through with like those 8-second clips years ago, and then Instagram's like, yeah, we'll let you post whatever videos you want. X is like, dude, or Twitter or whatever you call it, is like you can post literally anything here, and what gets like the most attention is like one-liner comments on the actual post, not the posts themselves. Half the times, like I see like things on Instagram and Twitter, and I see the it's like literally like I just go to the content to see the comment section. Like I see the preview of the video and I'm like, oh, I literally just want to see the comments on this shit. Like I don't even want to read and it's like when you think about why people comment negatively, maybe on your post, maybe on your friend's post, maybe just in general, like maybe you're like you love to follow like Bear Grylls, and you go on his page and you see someone comment something negative, or Ted Nugent or somebody like that, and you see somebody comment something negative, you like take it personal. Like it's like almost like an attack on you if you like that person. And then you have to think, like, why do these people actually comment negative things in the first place? A, because they're little, like, fucking lonely, like, moisturized, covered dudes sitting in, like, their mom's basement. And they're just, like, have nothing to do. And so they just sit there with, like, 4 phones. And they're just scrolling through Instagram and Twitter. And they're just hating on people to try and get, like, a one-liner out there where they get a couple likes and they're like, wow, this really made it worth it for me. Like I'm sure you guys, there's like Black Mirror episodes about this and stuff, but I haven't watched all of them, and maybe I should go back and rewatch those. But you just kind of think about it, and half the time, like there's people that'll comment things and like we interpret them in regards to oh, this person is trying to do this or do that, and like especially half the time, like if someone's giving you tips, like a lot of the time someone's giving you tips and we interpret that as like, oh, you think I'm doing something wrong, when really it could just be like, hey, have you thought of doing this? And like a lot of the time that even comes to like people that we disagree with, like there's kind of like those like those gotcha moments, and these are like the popular videos where like people go to college campuses or they go to on the street or whatever, and they're just basically like trying to take somebody out that's not even really on their level or like in their league kind of thing, and those things will go viral. But like two people that are like highly educated that are talking about kind of like nuanced ideas, like things like that never really go viral. And it's like, what actually is more rich in content, I was gonna say, but really even just like both of them are rich in content, but it's like really, I guess the question is like, what kind of content are you really trying to lean towards? And like those types of debates, those types of like things where it's not just like those like one person trying to get a gotcha moment. A lot of the time it's like, hey, have you thought of it this way? And I think that a lot of the time we encounter different ideas, we encounter different perspectives, and we initially think, oh wow, this is hate, this, oh my goodness, I can't believe somebody would think this way or say this thing, or The only reason they would think that or do that is because, or say that, is because they have malice in their heart. They're like an evil fucking person. That's like our first thought when somebody, says something that we don't agree with or we've never heard before. It sounds like an attack. And I think a lot of the time it's just like, oh, no, that's just like a different perspective or a different idea. Believe it or not, like that's not going to hurt you. And so, thinking about like why people do the negative comments, and kind of like how you can respond to them and how you can turn it around. Because a lot of the time it's like, hey, thanks for that idea. Like, hey, thanks. I never thought of that before. That's a good idea. You don't have to tell them you disagree with them. You can just say, hey, thank you for your input. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you. Because you know what? You might encounter a situation where you need to actually use that insight. And you'd be like, who was it that told me? Oh, yeah. Sloth. I was trying to think of a funny name right off the top of my head, but I was just kind of like thinking like, like with those weird names like Sloth Puppet kind of 449 commented this thing on my, oh, great. Anyways, stupid fucking joke, and I butchered it. So, yeah, thinking about like what goes viral and that kind of, like I said, it's those one line hitters that come through that are just like a 1-2 combo, like one line, 2 lines that just hit hard, that goes viral. Does like a fucking long paragraph gonna go viral? Is that like some guy ranting here like me, like by myself for 20-30 minutes sometimes? Is that gonna, maybe? I don't know. Some people can do it. And that's the other thing is like what kind of content goes viral? Are you looking for, or do you want to be, or do you want to consume the type of content of like the Hawk Tuah, the 15 seconds of fame, the one-liners, because everyone's prone to it. Like I'll sit through, Instagram reels or whatever, just scrolling through. Like we're all prone to this kind of short form, small hit of dopamine every 15 seconds. But it's like, is that really what you want to consume? I know for myself, it's not. And so, like, I think, like, why is this stuff going viral? It's like, it's almost like addictive. It's almost like, I don't know if cathartic's the word because I don't know what that word means, but it's like kind of like this, I don't know. I don't even remember why I got down this train of thought. I think it was because, why things go viral. And or what goes viral? Is it the Hawk Tuah stuff? Is it the the Kim Kardashian kind of stuff, or is it the the Jordan Petersons? Is it the someone that's having like a intellectual conversation? What's that guy? Everyone. Pierce Morgan, or and you're just shouting at each other, but maybe there's some good information in there. But like what kind of things go viral and why? And we kind of just get lost in these like gotcha moments of like who's the most entertaining, who's the most funny, who hits the hardest in 15 seconds, right? And it's like I don't know if that's what you're tailoring your brain for. I just it's something to think about. And so that's kind of more in regards to like social media. And then obviously there's people that you're going to deal with in real life. Like there's going to be people that talk shit. There's going to be people that try and distract you. There's going to be people that just are fucking negative. Like there's just going to be stuff out there, maybe that you perceive as hate. And there's going to be stuff out there that maybe you hate, believe it or not. I'm sure I'm preaching the choir on that, but it's like in real life. A lot of the time, just like in social media, we hear things that we don't agree with or we've never heard before. It seems like a foreign concept, and we instantly like acknowledge it to be of malicious intent. We think it's like, oh, this person is evil. This thing, this idea is evil. And so anybody that could think of it, I couldn't even comprehend that. And, there's the idea of like, oh, the line of good and evil resides in every man's heart, or whatever the quote is. And, there's that idea of like, yeah, we all got it in us. right? And so, but we have this kind of like a way of like othering people so hard that like when we hear something that we don't agree with, we hear something that we've never heard, we hear something that maybe we heard somebody say that we don't even like, and we just associate that idea with that person. Every time you hear that idea, you're like, oh, I remember that time I fucking argued with that guy in the break room at fucking that shitty pizza joint, and when we worked together, I had to share a line with that guy in the kitchen that one time, and he just chewed my ear off. He just like kind of yelled at me or whatever. And I remember he told me that he thinks this. So whenever you hear that idea or whatever, you just get brought back to that place, and you just kind of have the anger built up, or and that's not, I don't know, I can't, I'm trying to remember why. It's a late night for me right now, and so you'll have to bear with me. But think about like, what is it like? Is this person actually being hateful towards you? Is this actually being aggressive, or what have you? Or is it like, maybe, hey, is this just something that you haven't heard before? Is it just like a foreign idea, and this is just like your ego kind of protecting you? Your the foundation that you have, your fundamental understanding of this world. And so if something threatens that, it's kind of scary for us. But it doesn't mean somebody's evil. It doesn't mean somebody. And so, that's just kind of like my idea of like what I was thinking about, what I had to remind myself today of, like, is hate that we perceive online, like, is that really even hate? And should we be allowed, should there be a way to turn it off? Is there like a way to turn it off? Are people, if you censor the words they can use, if you censor the, kind of way they can phrase their idea, they're just going to find a new way to do it. Like, you see this all the time in social media or the algorithms or anything like that. Like, there's certain words that, will throttle your traffic or boost your traffic in some ways, I'm sure. Like, if you maybe say things, I don't know. But, there's certain words that you want to obviously say maybe a bit more, certain ideas you want to spread. And then there's other words that, maybe justified, maybe unjustified, are going to get you either censored or silenced. And so, maybe they don't block you or delete you or wipe you right off the face of social media, but maybe they just throttle your traffic. You hear that term, shadow ban. And the reason I bring this up is because, you censor certain words. You tell people either directly or you indirectly tell them by like kind of throttling them through the algorithm. And, what do people do? How do people respond? They just change. They start doing this like weird cryptic stuff. Like, you saw this a lot during the last like 4 years. There's certain words you can and can't say, different medical procedures you can and can't talk about, different, words that basically were just stripped away from us, and we're not allowed to type them into social media anymore. Whatever, I don't know, whatever idea people think about that. But, it's like, when you tell people they can't say these things, they just find different ways to convey it. Like, you hear old, like, tongue-in-cheek, like old movies or old books or something like that. Like, they have all these, like, weird little snide remarks to each other. Like, oh, you're a boot-licking, blah, 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 blah. Or you're a, what do they call, you're a, I don't know, not a swell guy. What, like in those, like, 50s kind of, what a silly city slicker. I don't know what they'd call people, or what gumption that guy had. I don't know why I'm doing that accent either. But like, you hear all those, like, and that's because they were limited into what words they could say or what words they couldn't say or whatever it was. And so they, back in the day, they maybe, I don't know if that's like called the King's English or whatever that was, but it's like they had their own ways. Even like Shakespeare, you read, that's a good example actually. You read all those like old books, and they've got like sexual references, they've got little things, but it's like we wouldn't even catch them, we wouldn't pick up on them unless, like, why is it? Is it because the idea didn't exist? No. In fact, he's conveying the idea, he's just using different words. And so effectively, that's kind of what, censorship does in my eyes, is like, it's like you tell people they can't use that word, or you tell people, hey, this is hateful, this is negative, I don't like this word, this is, triggering for me, this is whatever. And it's like, well, that doesn't really get rid of the idea. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for us to communicate, and it's just kind of, and so that's my thought on it, because like, and the exact same thing is like, in regards to the words they use that they shouldn't have been using, there's, or what people consider to be what they shouldn't be using. They're like, oh, this word's hate, this word's that, this book has this word in it. And it's like, okay, well, what context is it using? Is it using it in regards to just like, maybe show how evil somebody was, or display how evil this time was, or what, or it's not, obviously not glorifying it. And if it is, that's a different story. And even that could be argued of like, maybe we should have that out there. So maybe you could at least have, they say like, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and it's like, well, maybe we should have that idea out there so we could have 150 million people hear about it and be like, hey, we don't really like this, and this is why. And maybe that's more powerful than just like deleting it or burning the book, so to speak. And I think now this conversation's taken a little bit of a different turn. Just basically wanted to go over my thoughts and ideas around the fact that hate is going to hate. And so maybe you hate this, maybe you don't, maybe you like it. If you found this interesting, thought-provoking, you like it, you hate it, whatever, interact with it. Comment, like, share it, recommend it to a friend, and I think that's it. Have a good week. Catch you all next Monday. Much love. Peace out. Almost flubbed that outro, but bye. Love you all. Peace.